Chapter 1. The Age Without Names. This story doesn't begin in a city. There are no rooftops of brick, no bustling markets, no names carved into stone, no libraries, no scripts. It does not begin with a king, nor a throne draped in cloth of gold, nor with the ink of a scribe writing down glory. It begins in silence, in lands untamed by borders, where wind sang louder than any voice, and the sky vast, indifferent, watched over wandering souls with no flag to follow. It begins in the hush of open plains, where language had yet to be born. No alphabets, no gods with names, no oaths sworn by fire or blood, only eyes searching one another for meaning, and hands clenched around stone axes, just in case. This was prehistory, not a fairy tale, not a legend, but a raw and real time when humans walked the earth. Without the burden or blessing of written memory, they hadn't yet learned to write. But they had already learned to fear, already learned to hunger, already learned to kill. They lived in a world where survival came before speech, where every stranger might be a threat, where the first handshake may have been a clenched fist. It was not a peaceful Eden. It was a crucible, and in that crucible, some survived, many did not. Their names, if they ever had them, are lost, but their struggles echo still. In your blood, in your bones, in the silence that sits between your thoughts. Chapter 2. Genetic Clues. The silence within our genes. Until just a few decades ago, we had no idea how many ancient tragedies were still living quietly inside us. No scrolls told the tale. No ruins whispered warnings. No burial site revealed this. Or in the soil, ... They were hidden in us, in the smallest particles of who we are. Then came DNA, a discovery that lit a torch through the long, dark corridors of human history. Suddenly, the past wasn't just guesswork or broken pottery. It was measurable, mappable, living, still in our blood. And when scientists turned that torch toward one particular strand, the Y chromosome, the quiet messenger, passed only from father to son, they found something they didn't expect. Not a mutation, not a disease, but an emptiness, a void, across continents, across cultures. In the genetic code of millions of men, there was something missing. Something that should have been there, but wasn't. The Y chromosome, which should have held messy, branching record of countless male ancestors, had been reduced, collapsed, erased, almost as if entire lineages of men had simply vanished. And that's exactly what had happened. This wasn't a plague. It wasn't famine. There was no comet from the sky. What they had found, silently encoded in every modern man, was the genetic shadow of something far more brutal, more intentional. Genocide, not written in history books, but etched in the genome. A mass erasure of male lines, not in one region, but across much of the earth. Africa, Europe, Asia, the Middle East. It has a name now. The Neolithic Y chromosome bottleneck. But back then, there were no words for it. Just the aftermath, just the silence. A silence that stretched across generations. A silence that still echoes in your father's blood, and your father's fathers, and all the fathers who never got the chance to pass anything down at all. Chapter 3. When the earth demanded blood. Now we enter a time when the world had tribes, but no treaties, power, but no justice. Weapons, but no written rules. This was not civilization. This was survival. Raw and ruthless. Imagine it. 2 clans. No names carved in stone. No flags. No written language. Just memories carried in the minds of elders and grievances passed from father to son. They clash, not out of ideology or religion, but for the most basic things a body needs to stay alive: water, shelter, food. But this wasn't just a scuffle over a hunting ground. It wasn't a skirmish to be forgotten in a season. This was a war of bloodlines. Men didn't just die. They were targeted, erased, systematically removed, not just from the battlefield, but from the future. Women were spared, but not rescued. They were taken, absorbed into the Winding clan, their bodies turned into the vessel's throw, which the conqueror's lineage would continue, and the children born after. They carried only the victor's blood, only the victor's name, if there were names at all. And so, with no stories carved into monuments, somewhere, someone decided, our sons will live, theirs will not, over and over, across generations. This quiet policy of elimination reshaped the human gene pool. A genocide without witnesses, a war without names, a victory that lived on not in scrolls, but in chromosomes. And that's how we come to this, today. The Y chromosome of most men on Earth can be traced back to just a few ancient fathers, the others, gone, their bloodlines, extinguished, not because they were weak, not because they were evil, but because they stood on the wrong side of the wrong battle in a world that didn't believe in mercy. Chapter 4. The Neolithic Y chromosome. Bottleneck genetics. Most haunting discovery scientists gave behind it the Neolithic Y chromosome bottleneck. But behind those sterile words lies one of the most chilling truths ever unearthed by science. It was not a battle, not a single war, not even a known catastrophe. It was a pattern, so vast, so quiet, that it escaped all human memory, a ripple in our DNA, written not on parchment, but in the very blood that courses through the men of today across vast regions of the world, to the icy rivers of Europe, the monsoon-soaked valleys, while female genetic diversity remained intact. The male lineages collapsed, thinned, appeared, entire paternal lines, languages to mourn it, no priests to bury it, songs to remember it, just silence. It took tens of thousands of years for us to stumble upon it, almost by accident, through the study of genes. When geneticists began mapping the Y chromosome, the thread of inheritance passed only from father to son, they found something unnerving. Great emptiness, a missing mosaic. Almost all the Y chromosomes of modern men trace back to just a small group of ancient Malezwo, lived somewhere between 5,000 to 7,000 years ago. To put it simply, most men alive today, whether from Asia, Africa, Europe, or the Americas, are the descendants of just a handful of prehistoric fathers. Not hundreds, not thousands, just a few. And the rest, their names, their sons, their bloodlines, vanished. This was not disease, not drought, not divine punishment. It was large-scale erasure of male presence from the gene pool. We don't know every detail of how, but we know this much. It wasn't random. It wasn't natural. It was something more human than that. It was competition, domination, hierarchy, war, a world where patrilineal clans rose to power, and in their rise, they didn't just succeed. They obliterated every other line. This was not a purge by flame, but by blood, not recorded in ruins. Chapter 5. The Language of Power. When only killers survived so. What caused it? Was it a plague? No. Silenced, forgotten. Chapter 6. A war buried in our blood maybe. Just maybe, your ancestor once stood watch it, the edge of a forgotten mountain pass. Not a warrior draped in gold, but a barefoot sentinel, wrapped in furs, with eyes sharp from hunger and years. Or perhaps he lived in a green valley fat. No map has ever marked a quiet world of trees, rivers, and the rhythms of fire and bone. He may have held a child to his chest, whispered promises in a languagette, was never written down, sang songs that never found paper, only memory, only wind. He may have tilled soil with his bare hands, fought over water with rival clans, built homes from wood and clay, only to watch them burn in the night. But no one remembers his name, not because he wasn't strong, or wise, or kind, but because he died, and his line, his blood, his sons, his face, no voice to speak his language. And now he is not a person in memory, not a face in stone or story. He is only a void, a silence in your genome, a branch that once grew and then snapped, a gap in the record of your DNA. WHERE. His name should have been Dot, and we, those alive today, breathing, walking, speaking, we are not the children of kings. We are not the descendants of every brave soul who lived. We are the children of the ones who got lucky, who hid, who ran, who bent the knee, who happened to survive while others, just as worthy, did. We are not the heirs of glory. We are the heirs of endurance, not the sons of conquerors, but of those who simply made Ito the next sunrise. And in that, there is both humility and hope. Epilogue. The last voice before sleep. Next time you feel alone, or wonder what came before us, remember, human history isn't just about triumph. It is also the legacy of those who never got to speak. And here, in this quiet, dark corner of the internet, we've come to listen one last time. Outro soft music rises. If this journey meant something to you, subscribe, because next time we'll remember even more of the generations that were lost.